Welcome. I'm your host, J.G. Kemp. We have another show of Property Perspectives. We have a wonderful guest today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
You want to introduce yourself?
My name is Abdul-Rahmaan I. I'm the Executive Director of My People Community Services and My People Clinical Services.
That's great. That's great. And, Abdul does a lot of great things for the community. He was a perfect guest to have on the show today. How's your day going?
Great. So far, so good. We're moving.
I swear.
Yeah.
I swear. How's the car running?
Good. Oh, my car's running great.
Great.
Yeah.
Abdul does a lot of funny things. I see the beard's coming along.
Oh, yeah. My beard's great.
The beard's great. Looking good. What's an average day look like for you?
Average day? Well, most days I get up. Right now, I'll get outside. I go water my flowers because I want them to continue to live. So I'm trying to get good water on them. Get ready for work. I would say I work out, but most days I don't. I literally get up, make up my bed. I always make up my bed.
That's the first thing.
That's the first. I read a book. I heard a speech about that where a guy talked about making up your bed so you can get your first task done.
I heard that before too.
Yeah.
You. I swear every time I talk to you, man, I think we read the same thing.
Yeah. Well, it's motivational stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I love making up my bed. It makes me feel like, okay, I knocked that out. And then I get myself ready for work, head over to the office. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I only work till 4 because I go to dialysis on those days.
Okay.
On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I usually will get in there, having meetings, doing a lot of presentations. Like lately, I've been doing a lot of trainings, a lot of consultation and stuff like that.
Right.
And so then, I usually by the end of the day, I have my podcast on Tuesday nights. So we do that at 6 o'clock. And on Thursday nights, I have a group that I work with where we're working on like the Fatherhood Monologues, a show that we're going to do.
Yeah.
And so, I'm pretty much making it happen all day. I just, one of the things that I always set a little time aside to do during my day is kind of like thinking about what are we going to do next? So we have a number of things that we do at my business, but I'm always trying to think of like, what is the next thing, because we have to prepare for that.
Right. By the way, you look good.
Oh, thank you.
Very nice. Yeah. Always sharp. Always sharp. Motivational from afar. So we can dig deep into everything you just said. Let's take it back to how'd you get started with My People? What exactly is My People?
Okay. So My People. We started in 2005. And at the time, My People Clinical Services was an organization that primarily we did like in-home therapy, mentoring, fatherhood work. We work with fathers. Over the years, obviously we're almost a 20-year-old organization. And so right now, the main thing that My People Community Service does, because 3 years ago, we got our nonprofit status, and so we're a nonprofit now, and a lot of our work is under that. And so the main thing we do is supportive housing for young adults. So we have 6 supportive housing programs in the greater Hartford area, and we provide them 24/7 care, basically support to help them work on their transition from living in our program to being able to live on their own. We have a program called the Manhood Tree, where we work with men to just kind of like deal with some of their past issues and concerns. So we have a group, the Manhood Tree group. We have the Fatherhood Monologues. We do men's health events. We do our podcast. All of these things that kind of like focus on giving men space to be able to communicate, talk, and deal with some of the issues that may come up in their lives.
Right.
We have a program called SPPT, Support for Pregnant and Parenting Teens. We have a program called Urban Trauma. And this is just basically like a therapeutic modality that we use to be able to work with individuals that live in the urban setting, be able to provide them with support.
That's great.
So we have a number of services at My People. But we started in 2005, and basically I was just I was working a job, and I just decided that I wanted to start my own business. I wanted to work for myself. I say it kind of like cavalier, But I think that for everybody that's ever started a business, that's how it goes. One day they wake up and say like, man, I feel like I want to give this a shot on my own. I don't want to have to work for somebody for the rest of my life. And so I was at the point where it was kind of like, I'm going to go try it. And if it doesn't work, I felt like I always could get a job. It wasn't like, getting a job is not that hard to do.
Right.
But going out and trying to do something and doing services the way that I feel like it was supposed to be done for the community, the way that I want to be able to help them without having some supervisor that doesn't, I'm not saying people didn't care about the community, but I had a very specific goal and desire to help our people in our community the way I wanted to do it.
Right.
And so I had my own models in my mind, my own way of wanting to help the community. So I thought I would give it a chance with my people.
Now that's great. So to be able to have a job, quit the job, go gun ho, full force into owning your own business.
Right.
What did your support look like?
Oh, I have great support. Well, look, I don't want to make it seem like one day I woke up, I quit my job, and I started my people, and it was just to give you the full story. One of the things I always tell people, you got to be aware of the opportunities. You got to be like in tune with the world, And so what happened was, one of my mentors at the time, he basically said to me, yo, I have a job for you, another job where basically he was going to pay me the same amount of money I was making at my full-time job, but I only had to work. Like my schedule was like more flexible. So basically I wouldn't start my work day until like 3 or 4 o'clock.
Wow.
And so I would work, in the evening and then maybe on the weekends sometimes. So that really gave me the opportunity to say, okay, I'm going to quit this job where I have to be there at 9 o'clock. And so he gave me this. But the thing about it was only going to be for like 6 months.
Oh, God.
So it was like, I said to myself, okay, I'm going to take this opportunity.
Oh, you took it.
Right? Yeah, I took it. Because I need to be able to go to these meetings, go meet people to start my business.
Right.
And then I'll go to his job at 4 o'clock and I'll be good. And the thing is that job only lasted 3 months.
Oh, really?
So after 3 months, the funding was gone.
Yeah.
And so basically I had to make a decision. I'm going to go 100% at this business. And so it was like, by the time I lost, that job was about to run out of the money, it was summertime. And so I was basically like, I'm just going to go hard body this summer. And then if it don't work out, I'll just go get a job in the fall. And keep in mind, my wife was pregnant too. So you talk about support, she was kind of like, she could have easily said to me, Abdul, I don't think this is a good time to start a business. Yeah. I'm pregnant.
Right.
I'm about to have your daughter. But she was like, well, you go ahead and try to start the business. I still have my job. I have our insurance. Oh, so wow. If we have the baby and everything, we're married, so we're on each other's insurance. And so I always say, when something is your destiny, when you kind of walk into your destiny, nothing can stop you.
Right.
Some people miss their destiny though. They miss it because they don't take the opportunity. They're too scared.
Yeah.
They're not willing to take a risk.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh, I don't got enough money.
Right.
They come up with all the excuses why. And with me, I'm a pretty positive guy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty so I'm thinking of all the reasons why, how I can make it happen. I'm spending endless time just thinking okay, this is what I'm gonna do.
Right.
When I started my business, I was all about fatherhood. So I would go to these meetings and I'd be talking about fatherhood, but the thing is that nobody cared about fatherhood.
Right.
The people I was trying to sell fatherhood to didn't care about fatherhood at the time. And so if I was a person where if I want to do fatherhood but nobody wants fatherhood, I was gonna be out of business. So at one of the meetings, I was talking to a guy and he was like, man, you always pushing fatherhood. It's too bad you don't have a mentoring program. Because I really need some mentors for the kids on my caseload. And so for me, when he said that, it was like he just lit up. It wasn't like he was just talking. It was like he was just shining. And it was like a message.
I know what you're saying.
Right. It was a message.
I've seen that.
It was a message for me.
Yes.
To say yo, this is not just him talking. He's talking to you.
Isn't that crazy?
And so after that, I was like, I went home. I made a brochure for mentoring.
Yeah.
And so think about it. At the time, it was me, Eugene Milan. He came on board with me, and I went back. I told him, yo, man, we about to start a mentoring program. And he was like, "You gonna start a mentoring program?" And I said, "You know what else? I'm gonna hire 100 staff." And he was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And I was like, That's the answer. Because initially, I was planning on doing the work. We were going to do my father program. I was going to do groups and stuff like that. And then me and him were going to do therapy because, we're therapists. So we're going to do therapy. That's what everybody does, by the way.
I know you're a therapist.
Yeah, I'm a therapist. So everybody does therapy. You get a private practice. But I didn't really want to do a private practice. I wanted to do something bigger.
Gotcha.
Like in my mind, I'm always thinking big. And so I told him, listen, I'm going to start this mentoring program, and I'm gonna hire 100 staff. Now this is like June 2005. This is what I'm saying to him. June 2005. By December 2005, I had 100 staff.
100 staff?
I had 100 staff. And then think about it like this. Now they weren't full time, they were part time. They were, they might take 6 hours, 12 hours, 18 hours a week. But I had 100 people that I paid every 2 weeks.
Wow.
And in 6 months. And the thing is that I never did an advertisement.
This is deep.
I never did an advertisement.
And
people used to walk in my door every single day. People used to walk in my door. From the day I said I'm gonna hire 100 people, people used to walk in the door looking for a job.
And that wasn't geez, what's the word I'm looking for? That was a nonprofit then?
No, it was for profit.
It was for profit then.
Yes.
And it just happened. So I guess what I'm getting at is, so you had a contract already?
No, everything we did was fee for service. So basically, that's a great point, right? There's no contract. So I said, so my business model was that any business, right? I'm gonna charge this amount. I'm gonna pay you this amount, and I'm gonna get the rest, right? That's basically it. So we used to charge $35 for mentors. I pay people $20 an hour.
That's great.
I get $15 an hour.
That's great.
Every hour that everybody worked, and I had 100 people working.
That's great.
And so, and this is like, it feels like it was like crazy because after I said it, it was just like it was meant for me. Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
It was meant for me, and it wasn't like it's not like I'm not from Hartford.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you where you from.
I'm from White Plains, New York.
You from White Plains, huh?
I'm from White Plains, New York. When I moved to Connecticut, I came here my sophomore year in high school.
Okay.
I went to school in West Hartford.
Yeah, what's with Connor?
I went to Hall.
You went to Hall?
Hall High School. I never even planned to live in Connecticut. The only reason I came back to Connecticut was because I got kidney failure.
Oh, really?
Because when I got kidney failure, I was living in Atlanta. I had just got my master's degree, and I was gonna live in Atlanta because my daughter lives in Atlanta. And so, but then I got sick, and I was like, I need to go home to get. You talk about support. I needed support. I needed some help from my parents.
Right.
And so I came home, lived with my parents for 6 months. Then I got my own place. But basically, after I got sick, I kind of like just stayed around. And one of the things, like, I'm not from Hartford, but I feel like I'm very engulfed in the community in the city of Hartford.
You're very deep into it now.
Yeah.
So speaking of your mom and your pops, did they have a big influence on getting into this field?
Oh yeah, my dad was a social worker.
Oh, he was a social worker?
Yeah, my dad was the senior vice president of the Village for Families and Children for like 20 years or so. And my mom, she used to work in like daycares, after school programs and stuff like that. So my family is a family of like social workers. We always help people. My father always in the community, always doing things for people and helping people. So I'm his like namesake. And so I kind of like, initially when I was young, all of us have dreams, right? I'm all about dream chasing, right?
Yeah.
When I got out of high school, I went to film school. That was my first thing. I wanted to be a filmmaker. My first love was basketball. Everybody wanted to be a basketball player.
Yeah.
But I found out my senior year, I had gotten my first operation. So I didn't play basketball my senior year. So I didn't get no scholarships and nothing like that. Right? Yeah, for my kidney. And so basically, I was like, all right, I'm gonna be a filmmaker. I really loved Spike Lee at the time. So I went to film school. I get to film school, And I realized I'm not a technical person. Like, my mind is not technical. I don't want to know how a camera works. I don't want to know how to do all this stuff. I just want to show up and talk, right? And that's how I was in school. And so I basically realized that going to film school to learn all the technical stuff wasn't going to work. So I dropped out of film school, came back to Connecticut, and then my parents went to Tougaloo College. It's a historically black college in Mississippi.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? They went there. They turned out good. I'm gonna go there.
So you went?
I went there. So it's this is like 2,000 students, small school. And I go to Tougaloo, and it's great. I mean, it's a wonderful place. I mean, it's really one of those things where for a long time, after I moved to Connecticut, I think I was having some issues with like belonging, identity, because, you know, I'm from White Plains, all my friends are in White Plains, then I moved to West Hartford. I don't want to be here, right? I'm kind of like rebelling a little bit. And so when I went to college, it felt better because it was my choice. And then I was around all like black people, once again, you know, like, and it was like highly educated black people, like, you know, people that were doing things. And so it made me feel really good. And I think it was a great place for me to go. And I mean, in high school, I wasn't a very good student, but in college, I was a great student. And I think it was just because of the support and the people that I was around.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So tell us a little bit about your fatherhood program.
The Manhood Tree?
The Manhood Tree.
Yeah, so the Manhood Tree, we you know, for 20 years, I've done fatherhood programs. But a couple years ago, I started thinking about kind of like the order of things. You know, like we focus heavily on fatherhood, but we don't focus a lot on manhood. And I feel like for men, I think manhood is probably the most important thing that you got to get right. If you get your manhood right, like if you're a good man, if you understand what you're supposed to do as a man, how you're supposed to act, behave, all that stuff, you're gonna be a good father. So a lot of times we're focusing on fatherhood, but you got people that are fathers, and it's pretty easy to become a father, believe it or not. You know, you go have a quick little relationship, a little something, you could be a father like that. And so, but just because you're a father doesn't mean you're a good man. But if you're a good man, you're gonna be a good father. So I created the Manhood Tree, just basically looking at manhood and saying, okay, if manhood is the trunk of the tree, what are the different branches of the tree? So fatherhood will be a branch, brotherhood will be a branch, relationships will be a branch. And then we also have to look at our boyhood, our roots. We have to look at our teen and young adulthood. And so these are like the components of the Manhood Tree.
It's deep because in our community, you grow up with a lot of single mothers. Yeah. And you have a lot of, there's no disrespect, respectfully. You grow up with a lot of women saying what a man is. Right. Or what a man isn't. Right. So we don't technically always know how to be a man. Exactly. You know, so that's a great program. I actually sat in that program. Yeah. And it gets deep. Yeah. Oh, it gets deep. Yep. You know, start reflecting on yourself, and you're like, wow, well, that's why I turned out this way. Right. Or why I didn't turn out this way. Yes. You know? What's some of the main goals? Well, the main goal is to create a space for men to be able to talk about the things, make them think. You know, a lot of times, if we get together, men get together, right? We'll talk about sports. The basketball thing, you know, just happened, right? You know, finals just ended up. We'll talk about that. Or we'll talk about women. Oh, we love to talk about women, right? And so it's like, part of being a man, we always go to these like lower level thinking type things. Yeah, that's true. And we don't ever talk about the higher level things. We don't talk about our dreams. We don't talk about our goals. We don't talk about our health. We don't talk about, well, what is it? What does it actually mean to be a man? Like, what kind of man do I want to be? What are some of the traumas that maybe I've experienced in my life that I'm kind of burying down? And so the whole point of the Manhood Tree is really to be able to leave space for men to do those kind of things, to have real conversations, to develop real relationships. You know, you might get to the point in one of our programs where you might cry on somebody's shoulder because you're developing that relationship. And so like through the Manhood Tree, the whole, like, not just the group, not just the Fatherhood Monologues, not just the men's health events, not just the podcast. I'm almost kind of trying to run a trick on men so that we can get together
and we could build. You know, a lot of times we talk about we want to build. This is what we're doing. When you're associated with the manhood tree, that means that you're a part of something good. You're going to be able to do. You're trying to work on yourself.
Right.
And I feel like manhood is a constant thing that we should be working on.
I love that. I love that about you. So I can't say the first time I really met you. I just know that, you know, my man Alonzo always talks highly about you, and anybody who knows you talks highly about you.
Nice.
And Zoe one day introduced me to you, and you invited me to the football game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, that was great because I brought my little son.
Right.
And I always tell you, one of the main things I remember is you taking a video out, and you said to him, say, never stop dreaming.
That's right, yeah.
So you want to go more into that?
Yeah. So I have another business, the Dream Support Network. And basically, another thing that I'm very passionate about is people living the life of their dreams. I feel like there's similar to like the whole manhood tree thing. It's kind of like people are going through life like robots. They're just kind of like get up in the morning, they go to work, they eat, they come back home, and so they never take any time to think about like, what do I really want out of this life? What do I want? What do I want to do? Where do I want to go? What do I want to have? They never take time to like spend time with themselves and really think about it. And so it's interesting. Like when I was like in my 20s, I used to always want to be like a motivational speaker. But the problem is that I didn't really have any experiences or anything that I could read a book and tell you what the book said, but I couldn't tell you something from my own experience. And so what I realized is that I have to go out and go live my life. I have to go chase my dreams. I have to start a business. I have to travel somewhere. I have to go experience something.
Right.
And so I started doing those things, and then that gave me the capability to try to inspire somebody else to go do them too. And so whenever I accomplish a dream, one of the things that I want to remind people of, and I always say, is never stop dreaming.
Never stop dreaming.
And the reason why that's important is because some people, they accomplish something. They graduate from college.
Right.
And they're excited about that. That's great. It's a good thing.
Right.
But the thing is that life doesn't end when you graduate from college. There's so much more life.
Preach.
There's so much more stuff.
Right.
And so we tell them never stop dreaming because we want them to realize that there's always another dream to chase.
Man, it's crazy. I'm reading the book. I just finished the book.
Yep.
Just finished the book. Now I'm feeling a little good about myself lately because
You're reading books.
I'm reading books.
Good. Yeah.
And it's called Fanatical Prospecting. Jeb Blunt. And he said that, you know, winning isn't what it's about.
Right.
You can win, and you can come in first.
Yeah.
Year after year after year, and that's not guaranteed. It's when you're winning. How are you going to still improve?
Right.
Well, we're going back to what you said. And it becomes chasing yourself. Constantly checking yourself.
Right.
Small improvements so that you can still keep becoming better.
Yes. Life is a marathon. Life is like, if you're gonna be in this life, right? We're not planning on dying no time soon. So you're gonna be here. You gotta get up every day and go make it happen.
Make it happen.
And like I said to you before we got on, I can't be worried about what you're doing too much.
Right, no.
You're doing what you're doing.
Right.
I'm not gonna get anything from what you're doing. I might watch you and say, okay,
yeah,
I feel a little motivated.
Right.
But if I'm getting jealous or concerned about what you're doing, I'm wasting my time.
100%.
I need to be focused on what I'm doing. And so I need to spend some time thinking about, what do I want? Where am I going? How am I gonna get there? What are the things I gotta do? What do I gotta make happen? You know, who do I want to be? Right? Like when I was starting my business, the person I am today is exactly who I dreamed of being. Like I dreamed of this guy, and so now this is where it gets interesting though. I have a dream right now of somebody else that I want to be.
Oh, you do?
Of course.
Constantly.
Of course. I'm not gonna stay like this. At some point, like I was just saying to you, I want to be able to pass something on to my kids.
Right.
I want to be able to make sure that they're in a position Like when things are a little bit easier for them on the second, you know, in their lives than it wasn't for me, they shouldn't have to work as hard. They should be able to say like, yo, we got it good, right? And so they got to step up. They got some shoulders to stand on. So I have a dream for a future me. Maybe I don't have to work as hard. I mean, maybe I don't know. I don't know if I don't want to not work. It's just the type of things that I do.
Yeah, you were telling me one day about, don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
But kind of just blew my mind what you said. And you probably, maybe you do, you don't remember saying it. But you were like, I don't want to work forever. I'm trying to think of a way I can constantly get paid daily. Yeah. Maybe off a subscription, an app. But I want to be able to constantly get paid every minute, every hour of the day.
Right now, at my people, I'm out. Like I don't. If I didn't go back there for the rest of the month, next month, nothing will change. It'll be fine.
I love that.
It'll be fine, right?
That's great.
Now, but my wife, she's not out. She's in. Yeah. So we need to get her out now. That I'm out. I don't. The agency will work fine without me, but not without her.
Man, that's important.
Okay. So now she has to get out, and we're working to put in that in order. Once we don't have to be a part of the every day to day. Now you say, okay, well, the thing is that I don't want to just sit on the couch all day.
No.
Right? I want to do things that are enjoyable to me. You can't even vacation every day. Like my mind actually needs to be thinking about something. But I want to have a choice. See, there's somebody that got up this morning, they put on their jeans, they went out, they got to dig a hole today. I don't want to dig no holes. Right? I want to be able to position myself where all of my knowledge and the capital that I've built up over these years, I'm able to utilize that. I can go in a meeting, I can go talk to somebody, and I can be able to make something happen. I feel like I'm accomplished. Maybe I could meet with a younger person. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I like to be able to think that I'm going to do something purposeful. I'm going to do something that I want to do. I don't ever want to be in a position where I have to do this thing. I gotta go every day to this place. Nope. I want to be able to make my own decisions.
You're doing a great job, I'll tell you that.
I'm moving towards it.
You're doing an excellent job, man. You're doing a lot. You do a lot. What do you feel as though real estate? Well, let me ask you this. When was the first? How old were you when you bought your first house?
Maybe like 32.
32 years old. God bless you. Now, you got commercial buildings now, right?
Yep. My first property that I bought was a 2-family.
Oh, that was the first. Oh, good for you.
But I'm a terrible landlord. Plainville.
We went to Plainville. Huh?
Yep. I bought a house in Plainville, and my plan was I was going to use it. I was going to use it for for one of my like a program I was trying to do. Oh. But it didn't work out. Okay. So then I let one of my family members live in there. I had some tenants, but I'm not a person I don't got time for all that. Like I don't want to. I'm not fixing nothing. Right. I don't want to go pick up no rent. Right. And so I sold that house, and then the next house I bought was for me to live in. Like me and my wife bought this little house, and that was in Hartford, and that was good. We were doing good. Then I remember somebody got shot up the street from my house.
Oh, really?
Yep. So I sold that house. Now I moved to my current house.
Gotcha. So when did you transition to the commercial business? What was the difference between just buying a house and buying commercial?
So what happened was my office, right, for my business, we always were renting space. And so basically my first space was like a room, maybe this size. So maybe I paid $200, $250 a month, small little room. Then at the end of that year, we moved into a new space. We have this space in West Hartford. It was like we rented out a suite. And maybe let's say that cost we went from paying $250 to paying like $3,500 a month. So then we were like, okay. Then one day this guy just walked into my office and he was like, yo, I got this building and I'll rent you the building for $4,000. And so we went over and it was like off the beaten path a little bit. But it was nice. He had an office. The office that I was gonna take, it was really nice. It was a nice office. So we rented that for a few years, and then I was like, okay, we're renting this building for $4,000 a month. I was like, maybe I could buy a building, and the building on the Asylum that I owned was for sale, and so I was like, it's a nice building. It's right on Asylum. That's a good place for our business.
Great place.
So, boom, I bought that building, and I think it was probably like a couple $100,000. So it was a good place, and so we had our offices in there, and then I used to live on Gillette Street. When I came back to Connecticut after I moved out of my parents' house, I lived at 30 Gillette Street. I lived there for like 5 years.
Oh.
And so when the building on Gillette Street came for sale, it was kind of like, to me, like a full circle moment to be able to say, like, I used to live down the street. Now I own this building on Gillette.
Right.
And so at the time, this was probably like 9 years ago. That was a very important thing for me to be able to say, like, I went from renting an apartment to owning a building. But now I'm kind of past that. So like, what I really want to do now is, I think I want to consolidate my properties. I want to be able to get the funds from those properties, and I want to be able to get us a new main office. Bigger, yeah, probably in somewhere in Hartford, and then I want to get those supportive housing under us. So those are my plans for the future.
Talk about building development.
Yeah,
that's definitely the wave.
That's the wave. That's my goal.
Stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
building development.
Yep.
And and this is what I realized not too long ago. It's kind of like duh when you think about it. We're one of the first 13 colonies. So we have a lot of old property, more older than the rest of the country.
Yes.
And people are still living in these things. Sooner or later, you're gonna have to start building.
Gotta get rid of them, yeah.
Gotta get rid of them.
Right.
Gotta get rid of them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we could talk forever. Abdul, I really appreciate you having here. We haven't dug into your podcast.
Yeah.
We haven't dug into, more things that my peoples really do for the people, the men's health.
Yeah. This weekend we got a great men's health event.
You do, huh?
Yeah.
This weekend?
Yeah, we're going to Vermont.
That's right. I couldn't make it.
Yeah.
I couldn't make it. But that's a good. You said if you want to go and just rest, you just go and rest.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. But I'm gonna have you on again.
Okay.
I want to say thank you for having me on your podcast too.
Yeah.
It's a great podcast. We want to give a shout out.
Yeah, the Manhood Tree Podcast every Tuesday, 6:00. Watch us on Facebook Live. Him and Mr. Zoe. Alonzo Beckett. Well, this is another episode of Property Perspective. I'm your host, JG Kemp, and we'll see you again.